our solicitor recommended that the board have a discussion on clarifying that portion. That's to do with the road crews time off should they, get COVID or have symptoms. And so I included in your packet as well several questions that should be discussed by the board and answered for clarification on that section, since they're not employees that are able to work from home.
Okay, that's good. So, one of the things that are highlighted, thank you very much, Terry. So, it's highlighted here, whereas employees are able to complete their job duties remotely or permitted paid leave for the calendar year ending December 31st, 2022, but are not guaranteed paid leave beyond the CDC guidelines and recommendations. That's one of the highlighted areas from Solicitor Sweat's office. Any board comments or concerns on that?
So Mr. Sweat, on the January 26th meeting, you had said that it would have to include a compensation rate, like would their paid, the paid leave, would that be taking out of their vacation time, taking out of their, at that time you said we had to clarify that.
Well, that's the determination. I believe the federal requirement was 100 employees or 200 employees or more, so we're well under that. So we're not required to pay them if they're off because of COVID. So the decision needs to be made. How do you want to handle that if someone goes off? Are we going to require that they take vacation and sick days first? Are you willing to pay for any time off related to COVID? That's a decision you as an employer can make.
I'm just saying, do you think it needs to be in this, clarified in the resolution, whether or not it's paid leave, or what is the compensation rate?
Well, no, the first question is, do you want it to be paid leave?
Well, I'm saying this says that it will be.
That's why we highlight it. You need to decide that.
So basically the board has to decide how they want to handle road crew. Do you need to see a positive test for them to get compensation? Do you want them to have compensation for COVID at all? Do you want them to take vacation, sick leave first and then compensate them, or vacation, sick leave, then don't compensate them? You really have to decide what you'd like to do with road crew, because the staff agreed that we'll work from home, unless we're actually sick, and we'll take sick time, but for them, obviously, it's a different situation.
And you also have household individuals. Let's say a road crew's spouse has COVID. They have to stay away. Are you going to compensate them for that? And they may not get or develop COVID. Those are just some of the considerations.
Do you suggest we talk to the union rep before passing?
Well, before we adopt any policy that affects them, we have to run it by the union, because that affects bargaining.
So
Basically, if you adopted a policy, it would only go into effect immediately for the non-union employees of the township.
What is the current CDC guidelines as far as payment to over 50 employees?
For the over threshold?
Yeah, for our situation.
For our situation, there's no guidelines. You do not have to pay them.
Okay.
Over, I think it's 2 weeks.
Okay. I would like to mimic the FMLA guidelines. I think the township's small, and we're juggling a lot of expense and services, trying to get services to our residents. I don't think we could wholly be able to compensate for this. I think we could offer sick time and days off, anything that's, anything above and beyond, sick time or days, vacation days, but I don't, in the contract, yes, that's my opinion.
Is there a way to do it by case basis? Like, I think it's different if somebody comes in contact at a party or whatever, then they have to take off because they were exposed here at work. Like if they get exposed at work, it's almost a situation where I feel that they're entitled to be paid. But that would have to be a case by case.
And with the CDC changing let's face it, on a daily basis right now. I mean, you talk to one person, they say it's 5 days. You talk to one person, they say it's 7 days. You talk to another person, they say it's 10 days. So what is it?
And if I may highlight right now, the CDC currently, I believe the last time I checked, said that if you're fully vaccinated and you're exposed, you don't have to quarantine.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah, so.
In passing it now without the union, it's almost like it's a resolution about some employees and not others. I would like something that they approve that it just affects everybody.
I agree, but you have to approve it before we can submit it to them to approve it.
So supervisors, again, this is a, motion, the board has to approve or deny this, so Solicitor Sweat can take it to the union representatives for next bargaining. So, I'd like to make a motion to approve the COVID employee policy with the caveat that, the township will follow the current CDC guidelines in response and as far as the payment goes. I don't know if I'm wording that
Which just
correctly.
means no payment.
Which means no payment, yes.
Now, that doesn't mean that you can't, if something pops up, you can say, let's go ahead and pay. It's just that you're not committing yourself in the policy.
I'll second Heather's motion.
Supervisor Dare motions, Supervisor Track second. Deliberation, please. Okay, roll call, please.
Mr. Lawson,
Yes.
Mr. Trax,
Yes.
Ms. Dare,
Yes.
Mr. Eskin,
Yes.
Mr. Prig.
Yes.
Item 5, approve tonight's